From Oxbow Advisors, from Austin, Texas, Ted Oakley joins us today. We're thrilled that he could do it. Ted, there's any number of ways to go with you with your career and, the esteemed ability you have. I'm going to go, Axios wrote this up, Axios Austin, I should say. Tony Payan at the Baker Institute, Rice University. The volume of this debate that goes through your Texas is basically unimaginable. The trite thing is like, okay, what are avocados going to do? But in Austin, how are you synthesizing the economic success of Texas and the threat to it from these policies?
Well, Tom, what happens is Texas is really split into three parts. Now, the valley is where that's where all the vegetables come through, and everybody does all the Rio Grande Valley, and it's different from West Texas, which is where all the oil is. So they're looking at everything differently. On the valley, they got a real problem because we grow so many things in Mexico and bring it across the border. In West Texas, you got oil, and they won't drill at less than $60 probably, and they're closed right now. So those two things are getting affected. And then if you look at, for example, in Austin, Houston, Dallas, real estate market's slowing down, quite a bit, really. And we try to keep our pulse on the bottom 50% and find out what's happening. Senator
Cruz is out front in this debate. He's really been scathing as a Republican. Do you suspect that other Trump-comfortable Southern Republicans will join Senator Cruz in criticism?
Wouldn't surprise me because all of a sudden you've upended everything, any world order of business. So, and they look at a lot of their constituents who are all of a sudden going to get hurt. And, it all comes down to votes. I've got to tell you, Tom.
Ted, let me jump in here before Tom starts asking you about Billy Bob Thornton and Landman. I'm looking at some of your stock picks here, very defensive. Colgate, Palmolive, Kimberly-Clark. Makes sense to me. Are investors drinking that Kool-Aid right now?
Well, we've owned those for some time, Damien, but I would tell you, we have a number of growth companies on the watch list, but they're not where we want to buy them. We look at about 300 companies that we would own in certain circumstances. But if you look at what we write during these periods, we want cash flow. We want, that's why we own the pipelines, oil and gas pipelines as well, Evergy is a utility, that sort of thing.
So talk to me about pipelines and MLPs. And I mean, if you're just your average, investor, is there an ETF that's a dividend paying MLP sort of that gives you your exposure all in one? Or do you really have to get into the nitty gritty and pick your spots and pick your companies directly?
Well, you need to have enough money to buy the direct MLP because you're going to have to pay an accountant to do the K1. So, and some of them don't like to do it.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But if you look, for us, we own our top three are enterprise products, MPLX, and Energy Transfer. Now, we like Plains All America as well, but those are all the K1s. If somebody doesn't want to have K1s, and they can go to something like AMLP, they can go one of the ETFs, which is okay, but really a pipeline's meant to own forever, like a piece of real estate.
We got 8 ways to go here, Ted. I don't have the time. I'm too tired. I haven't slept. The Texas Rangers crushed the Red Sox to opening day. I'm miserable. You got a new book out.
Yeah.
And it's actually way more important than this mumbo jumbo we're talking about. Folks, Ted Oakley's committed his career to what do you do with the pot in your kids? Second generation wealth. What do you want for your kids? Should we spend it or starve ourselves to give it to them down the road?
Well, I always start out, Tom, by saying if you're going to teach a kid about the value of money, they're going to have to experience the lack of money. No matter how much money you have, you can have 100 million, 1 billion, but if you don't teach those kids somewhere along the line, and in the book I say, look, you owe them a college degree and no debt and a car. After that, they need to go spend 7, 8, 10 years on their own because they need to have the self-esteem to stand on their own 2 feet. If you want to bring them back in the family office or something after that, that's okay. But those people need to be able to stand on 2 feet, and that's what makes a person.
Oh, look, Mrs. Sassauer just emailed in. Let Damien ask a question.
Well, Ted, I got to just say, I was in Austin just a year ago, and I saw those fraternity parties at UT Austin. Shout out to Ryan Bachman and Jordana Gold. But I have to ask you, they don't look like they're hurting. Today's, Gen X or whatever you want to call it, they're not paying attention to what's going on here in New York City. So talk to us a little bit about how you get them educated. How do you get your kids to care about the value of the dollar?
This is like, folks, forget about the dollar, forget about equities. Ted Oakley here on What Matters. How do you take fancy kids and have them starve when someone in the family is saying, oh,
I understand.
To Rome.
Well, I tell you, this is from experience of watching families. Half the families we work with do really well, half don't do very well at all. It's easier, and the easy way out is to give your kids everything. The hard way out, though, is to toughen up and say, you know what? Yes, we're rich, but you're not, okay? And so that's the way you want to look at it. And I totally disagree with this idea to bring kids in at 14, 15, 16, show them all your assets. I think that's a major mistake. That takes away from it.
Lisa Mateo and I are looking at each other.
Can you come over and talk to my wife?
Right.
Ted, it's these moms. They just empower their children. Lisa, will you come over and talk to my wife? It's unbelievable.
Again, good morning to a really good group of attorneys, great Red Sox tickets up in Boston, who helped me with this. And my lawyers agree with you. Just be quiet. You don't have to tell your kids everything, right?
True. I think the financial planners in this group has come out and want to say, you want to bring them in and show them how you do portfolios. You really don't. What do you know at 16 years old? Nothing. Okay.
Ted, this has been great. What we want to do is a remote in Austin. Call up Mr. Dell and say, Tom will come down and we'll have Michael Dell lead off the program and Ted Oakley follow up with wisdom. That's probably the most important conversation, Lisa, we've had since the brats were ordering Seamless and DoorDash.
Yeah. Well, there's a man there that knows how to handle money.
Michael Dell has been very generous, to say the least. Ted Oakley, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ted.
Oxbow Advisor, and of course the new book, Second Generation Wealth.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say, if you like this video and you want to see more of this type of information, because we really try to get the information that you don't see from anybody else, then be sure and click on subscribe, and you'll see more of what we do here at Oxbow.